Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about today's video because today we're going to be talking about why is it hard to say no and how can we get better at it. Okay. In a recent Forbes business article, Jonathan Beecher offers several quotes from powerful men who consider no to be an important part of success. And here are those three quotes. Steve Jobs was quoted as saying, "Focusing is about saying no." Warren Buffett, "We need to learn the slow yes and the quick no." Tony Blair, "The art of leadership is saying no, not saying yes. It is very easy to say yes." But for many of us, it's not so easy to develop this art. And why is that? Why do you think? Well, there are many reasons why. So we're going to jump into three of them, and then I'm going to give you some techniques on how you can learn to say no. Now, I'm not telling you to just run out here all willy-nilly saying no to everything. I am not saying that, so please don't think I am. But there are times when you have to say no to people, or not right now. So let's jump right on in. So the first reason why we have a hard time saying no is because of the fear of conflict. Research has shown that men and women have a tremendous need to belong to a peer group. Whether boy or girl, man or woman, we desire acceptance by our friends or the people we want to be friends with as a way of establishing and maintaining a sense of identity and selfness. The second reason is because we don't want to disappoint or hurt anyone. And let me put a pin right here real quick, because I remember in the not so far past, I had a hard time saying no to people at church. You know, I would be put on committees, I would be asked to work on all kinds of things, and I never wanted to say no. But I am learning that, Michelle, it is okay to say no. And because what happens is we say yes, we don't really feel like doing it, our heart is not in it, but we're doing it because somebody else wants us to do it, and that's really not a good reason to do it. So I learned quickly it's okay to say no. So, like I said, we don't want to disappoint or hurt anyone. So you don't want to tell your family you won't be home for the holidays because they'll be disappointed, and rightfully so. And that makes sense, right? Sometimes we do things that make others feel better, even if it's not quite what we want to do. What about something small, like disappointing a friend by not going out to dinner with him or her because you've got a big project due tomorrow? Or even smaller, what if you and your boyfriend or girlfriend can't agree on a restaurant or a movie? Do you give in so that they won't feel disappointed? Well, let me tell you what you do in that case. You have to compromise, and you say, "Okay, dear, we'll go and see your movie this weekend, but next weekend we'll go see mine." Or your significant other can say, "Hey, let's see your movie this weekend and we'll see mine next weekend." So see, you can always find balance there. And the third thing is our desire to be unique. Most of us want to be viewed as special in some way, as different from the very group that we belong to. It is sometimes this need to be seen as a separate person that drives those of us who defy authority. Often to our detriment, we have all heard a child yell out, "You are not the boss of me." But of course, defiance and purposefully unacceptable behavior can backfire. It can make you stand out, but it can also separate you from the very group that you want to belong to. And yelling out, "You're not the boss of me," may just get you a little behind beat. So there's a funny thing about the quality of specialness and difference. It seems that for many of us, feeling different feels best within the context of an accepting, affirming peer group. So let's talk about some techniques that you can use for learning how to say no. Number one, practicing saying no in small, unimportant situations, like not buying something at a store. You know how you go into a store and you see that cute teacup. I love teacups. I love to collect them. And you know that you really don't need to spend your money on that teacup, although it is so cute. You have to say, "No, Michelle, not this time. Maybe next payday, but you're on a budget." See how easy that is? And if you do that every time you go into a store for something that you don't have to have. See, there's a difference between a need and a want. And if it's just because I want that cup, then I can say no. But if I need that cup, that's a whole different story. Number 2, don't be fooled by the word everyone else. It is almost universally untrue that everyone else is doing the same thing or wants you to do whatever is being asked of you. You know how when someone says, well, everyone else is doing it, well, guess what? No, not everyone else is doing it. And you don't have to do it even if they are. Number 3, take a minute to ask yourself how bad the guilt, anxiety, disappointment, or other emotions you might feel, how bad will it be if you don't do whatever's being asked of you? And so can you tolerate them? Is it worth it to do that thing in order not to feel those feelings? And sometimes, in rare instances, very rare instances, you do have to do it because you just don't want to feel bad. Let's say you have an aging family member and they really want you to come over and, take them out to the Golden Corral. And you're like, yeah, I don't really want to go to the Golden Corral. But they would be so hurt and disappointed if you didn't. That's a time when it's okay to say yes, okay? So you just got to pick and choose and know when to say no. Number 4, ask yourself, how bad will it be if I say no? Again, is it worth it to give in or not to? Consider that there is no perfect answer. If you say yes this time, you can try no sometime later. And maybe just maybe yes this time and make it easier to say no the next time. This is perfect. This is a great takeaway. Sometimes you have to say, okay, I'm going to say yes this time, but then the next time it's come around, I can say, you know what, no thank you, because I did it the last time and I didn't really like it, or I didn't really care for it, or whatever the case may be. So sometimes giving in and saying yes is worth it. And number 5, last but certainly not least, remember that you can change your mind in most cases. Don't get trapped by the belief that you only have one opportunity. And you know what? I love that, because I know people that will say, well, you said yes, so you can't change your mind. Well, guess what? Sometimes you do have to change your mind, period. So don't feel like you can't change your mind. Now, I won't say that it's okay to constantly change your mind. So you need to be sure about what you're saying yes to, because you don't want to, be that indecisive person. The Bible says, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. So just be careful about the changing of the mind, but just know that sometimes you will have to change your mind. And so I think if you follow these tips, you will find it much easier to say no to things that you really can't afford, or things that you just truly don't want to do. So I thank you so much for giving me just a little bit of your time. And as always, I love having you guys here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, because we are in the midst of our 12 days of Christmas posting. And I'm super, super excited. This is video number 2. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.